Hi everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we are going to be doing the commentary / analysis for episode 9 of Miraculous Ladybug season 4, Daddy Agreste. So before I go any further, if you haven't seen the episode yet, I'm about to spoil the entire thing, so please check the description box for places where you can go and watch it, and then watch it, then come back and watch what I've got to say about it, but eventually those links will expire due to copyright and things like that. And second disclaimer, I mean, I haven't filmed the video yet, but I have a feeling that I'm about to say the word daddy quite a lot. So if you think it's disgusting or perverse, then this is not the video for you, but if you are one of those people, it's just a joke. But if you really do think it's disgusting or perverse, you can come round tomorrow and tell my 3-year-old niece that her calling my brother daddy is so disgusting and perverse of her. It's just a joke. Chill out. It's just a joke. Just a joke. A lot of you keep saying, Hayes, could you stop calling him daddy? And I say, nah, I'm sorry, I can't at this point. Sorry, I can't do it. I can't do it at this point. Not anymore. We've come too far. And also, last thing I want to say, last week's commentary video on Ephemeral, you all had a lot to say, and as a result, the majority of you wrote me mini essays in the comments, which was absolutely wonderful. It was amazing getting to read all of your thoughts, and I've spent like about, I think in total, about 5 hours replying to all your mini essays. They were very well written, great thoughts, loved them all. However, if you are going to write me a mini essay, please don't be dissuaded from doing so. I'd love to read it. But could you just, when the feeling strikes you, just put in a couple of paragraphs, because yeah, I have bad eyesight, hence the glasses, and it'd be wonderful, you know, if you could just break it up a bit, just so it's easier on my eyes, just a bit easier for me to digest when I'm reading on a screen. I don't care if the paragraphs make sense, just kind of look at it and be like, that's a lot of lines, and then randomly hit enter. I don't care if it's got a good structure to it, alright, I'm not marking it, but just so it's easier to read. My poor eyes. Okay, I'm halfway to 50. Please help me. Okay, just put some paragraphs in it, please. So anyway, my quick thoughts on the episode. I would give it, and maybe I'm being overly harsh, but I would give this a 6.5 out of 10. Now don't get me wrong, there were some things I loved about the episode. I loved, for example, that Marinette wasn't technically stalking Adrian. She was going to stop Chloe. She literally had zero interaction with Adrian. They spoke, what, once when she was a waiter and he had taken the box from the floor and given it back to her. That was it, apart from when they were Ladybug and Cat Noir. No Adrianette interaction in this episode. And whilst you all know I love the Love Square, that's primarily what I watch the show for, as well as the plots, and this episode was definitely more plots than Love Square. I do like the fact she wasn't stalking him, so points to Marinette for that. And whilst I enjoyed the bit of Gabe Nath we got, and also the Mark and Nathaniel, the plot of this episode relied on Felix knowing it was the Peacock Miraculous that he saw. But how would he have known? So let's get into it. So it sounds like Gabriel was kind of throwing this party just so Felix would come over. Like, you are related. You could just invite him over. You don't need to throw this whole party, but I guess they were having this party for his club, and honestly, I was surprised by the amount of friends Gabriel has. Like, obviously you could probably attend the club online, like remotely, like people like going to school and stuff remotely because of the pandemic. That's completely plausible, but I was just surprised he was even part of something like that. But again, it does kind of make sense. So when Adrian wheels in Natalie's like lunch cart, it has the Saragi logo on it, and also the oxygen tower in the next episode. Mega Leech has the oxygen logo on it, the Saragi logo on it on the oxygen tower. Also they have the car company, that's an advert playing before Solitude in Gorizilla. There's loads of weird things going on between the Agreste, the Bourgeois and the Saragi families. I don't think the children are involved, just the adults. There's some weird stuff going on, so it would make sense if Gabriel, Audrey and Tomo, I'm not sure I've said that correctly, Kagami's mum, are involved with each other. I didn't realise there was this big club, but I guess it wasn't the focus of the episode, but it was definitely suspicious. So everyone had to put their phones in that thing, so nothing could be recorded. They also had those jammers, so nothing else can be recorded without the phone. Okay, but what on earth were they discussing of such importance that meant no phones or anything like that were allowed? And we didn't get to see it, but it also looked like they weren't discussing anything, because when we did get to see that one scene, everyone was just dancing. the whole premise of this episode was just a little bit odd. Why couldn't you just invited Felix over? Why couldn't Felix and Emily just be on a trip to Paris to see their family? I just feel like the setup was odd. Like, it was cool, I liked the music, the jazz music was lovely, but that part was just a bit strange, the whole premise. And then also in the car, Felix was watching a video on the Ladybug about the Miraculouses, and first of all, when on earth did Alia get that photo of Hawk Daddy and Miura posing like that? Like, she was like, oh, before you go, can I just take a picture of you? Yeah, that'd be great. Where did she get that photo from? I don't know. But second of all, okay, so that's how Felix learns about the jewellery. Obviously, I understand Felix doesn't live in Paris. I don't know what the situation is like in London and the rest of England where Felix lives with Miraculouses. I guess we don't know yet because we haven't seen the London special. So I would understand he doesn't know much about them and the magical jewellery because he lives in a different country. Okay, got it, and he was using this video to learn about them. Cool beans. However, whilst I think he may be suspicious when he sees Gabriel's brooch later underneath the cravat, why would that, what? I'm struggling with the leap in logic there of him being like, oh, he's like got a hidden brooch underneath his cravat, that must mean he's Shadow Daddy. Maybe he's hiding it from you because you like to steal jewellery, not because it means anything sinister. Obviously we all know Felix is right, but I am finding that leap in logic just a bit too far. I feel like they've missed out some fundamental steps between him watching that video and him working out Gabriel as Shadow Daddy. Did anyone else feel that? I just thought that that's why the score is so low on the episode, because there was just some basic logic missing. I'm a bit confused by it. Maybe the translation I watched of the episode was completely incorrect and I'm in the wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. Maybe when later on I watch another translated version and I'll put a pinned comment to correct myself. But right now with the version I saw, him watching that video, him seeing that brooch, and then him accusing Gabriel of being Shadow Daddy, there just seems to be some steps missing there. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was weird. Okay, but Adrian was super sweet bringing Natalie's lunch. I love Adrian and Natalie's relationship. They're so lovely together. I love them. They're so sweet. And speaking of things that are sweet, so Daddy Agreste comes into Natalie's room. He sends Adrian out. So he says to Natalie, "It's more complex without you. You really are irreplaceable." This man is trying to kill me. That was beautiful. And then when she offers him some lunch and they both start smiling. It was like literally the only Gabe Natalie got in the episode. But it was wonderful. Oh my god, oh my god. I think my bun keeps disappearing out of frame, but oh boy, oh boy. Beautiful, beautiful, I loved it. And then of course we had a bit of Mark and Nathaniel in there, although their faces, when they first come on beside Alia, were a bit weird, to be honest. Slightly bit weird, but I just love seeing Mark again. He is my son, you all know. You all know. I love Mark, and I love the comic strip. When I was watching it this morning in French, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna reenact Shrek with Adrian and Marinette. And then as I watched more, I was like, oh no, it's kind of like a cross between Sleeping Beauty and Rapunzel. I was kind of hoping for Shrek. I love Shrek. Alright. It's a good film. It's a good films. They're all really, I still haven't seen the fourth one actually, but oh my god, Shrek the third, the second Shrek, oh my god, they are such good films. Anyway, I really wish they had done Shrek. Anyway, Adrian looked great as a princess, Marinette great as a knight. I don't know how they both look good in pretty much everything, and even Daddy Agreste, he was stunning as Maleficent. Oh my god, oh, so good. So, oh, it was amazing. I love the little drawing of their kiss. I love the Mark and Nathaniel fairies, the hamsters in like the end card of the comic. Beautiful. I really liked that art style as well in that. That was so lovely. Oh my, it was lovely. I love the idea. Marinette in a night outfit, Adrian in a dress. He pulled that off flawlessly. He looked better in a dress than I do, so I'm kind of jealous. So now let's talk about Chloe. Now I am all here for petty Chloe drama because of how traumatic this season has been so far. 100% I'm here for it. But why was she up in the ceiling? What, just on the off chance they were going to be talking about her or talking about someone else she was interested in? Like, why couldn't she just have been walking past? I'm trying not to like think too critically about it. It was funny. It was funny, and how Sabrina got stuck, then they did the flower, and then Chloe hit the thing on the way out. Honestly, I'm just more concerned about the blatant disregard for health and safety of children in this TV show. Okay. And again, Chloe's logic is flawed. I know she did kind of explain it because the Marinette was like, hey, you wanted Adrian to come to school. You were so excited on that first day when he came on Origins, and you were distraught when he didn't show up immediately. She was like, where is my Adrikins? And she was crying. Marinette is right. So Chloe's like, yeah, but then Chloe was like, okay, yeah, he'll be sent home and then I'll get to see him all the time. And then he'll be mine. Okay, I can see that. However, Adrian is more than likely going to find out one day what you did, and then he's going to hate you for it. One thing that Adrian values most in his life right now is his freedom. That's why he loves being Cat Noir so much, because it gives him that freedom. And if you take it away from him, he's not gonna like you. I understand Chloe just maybe didn't think that through. Maybe she doesn't realise how much this means to Adrian. Okay, that's fairly plausible. But like, Chloe, I'll tell you now, this isn't gonna work. Like, if you follow through with this plan and it goes as you expected, he's gonna hate you for it. He's not gonna fall in love with you for this. No way, he's gonna find out one day and he's gonna hate you. So Marinette looked absolutely amazing as this waiter. Oh my, how does she look good in literally anything? She even looked good in Party Crasher with the other moustache and the, what she have on, like a poncho and whatever. Did she have a helmet on? I don't even remember, it was so long ago now. But okay. So then we cut to Gabriel trying to figure out how to do all the thing with the remotes, and he leaves it up to the gorilla, up to Maurice, the bodyguard. Okay, so they have the jammers, which is for the phone signals, they have the fingerprint recognition, and they also have those massive shutters on the windows. What is Gabriel preparing for? The apocalypse? It just kind of made me scared for Adrian. Like, we know in the finale he's going to confront his dad. He doesn't want to go somewhere with Lila, but he's being made to. And maybe there's other things going on. Honestly, the synopsis was kind of vague about why exactly Adrian confronts his dad. Why does he need those on the windows? Like, for the whole house? It's just making me worried. If Adrian confronts him, his dad's like, you're either going with Lila or you're staying here, and you're staying here for good, kind of thing. I'm so worried about Adrian in the finale, not gonna lie. I hope he's gonna be okay, but now we know the house is able to do that. When I say the house is able to do that, obviously Daddy Agreste installed those things at some point. How long have those things been there? Not sure. Dunno. Is this the first time we've seen them? At least on the windows anyway. I'm pretty sure it is. Right? Please someone correct me. It's the first time I remember seeing them anyway. I'm not sure. So then everyone starts arriving for this party, which honestly, again, just seems a bit odd Gabriel would throw this in the first place, since he's such an introvert. He doesn't like other people. He doesn't really like anyone coming into his house. It seems a bit odd he'd throw this entire party, but I guess it was like, you know, a lot of security for the event. So yeah, he was taking all the correct precautions. And then he drops the tablet because of what Marinette does with the box, and he bends over to get it. His cravat kind of comes forward, and Felix sees the brooch. It seems from what happens in the rest of the episode that Felix is aware he's a Senti-monster? Because, okay, so we see right at the end of the episode when Shadow Daddy gets rid of Senti Daddy, he clicks his fingers, right? And then he also threatens Felix with clicking his fingers. He says, I'll snap my fingers and you'll disappear. And Felix says, you wouldn't dare, or something like that. Don't do that, you know? To me that just says Senti-monster. So does that mean Felix is aware he's a Senti-monster? Does that mean everyone knows, apart from maybe Adrian, that Felix is a Senti-monster, including Gabriel? I don't know, I just feel like there was some lines of dialogue missing from this episode to help with my understanding. I did understand the episode in terms of what Marinette was doing and like the general plot, but some of the specifics, like with how Felix works this out. So he watched that video of Alia, sees Gabriel with his brooch, and then just directly confronts him about being Shadow Daddy, but then Senti-Daddy, it was the Senti-monster at that point, is like, if I click my fingers, you'll disappear, which is what happens to Senti-monsters when they click their fingers. And this doesn't necessarily mean Gabriel created Felix, so I think the rule is for the Peacock Miraculous is that whoever the holder is currently, they can get rid of any Senti-monster in existence. So whether or not he created Felix, whether it was Emily or Amelie or someone else, I have no idea who it could be, Daddy Agreste could get rid of him. So I guess my theory right now is maybe both Felix and Adrian are Senti-monsters and they're true amuks in each of the rings. However, it does seem a bit odd why they would put an amok for Felix in a ring that doesn't belong to anyone near him. It seems that Felix and his family have been living in the UK, whereas Adrian and his family have been living in France the whole time. So why would Gabriel and Emily have the amok for Felix? I guess maybe they could argue they were just keeping it safe, they would never control Felix with it. Okay, fair enough. But surely it'd be safer to give it to Emily, and then when he was old enough you could give it to Felix, or give it to Emily and she puts it in a safe so Felix can grow up normally without being controlled and have like environmental influences. I don't know, it's hard to say because I felt like there was like just lines of dialogue missing to help with our understanding of this. I don't know if they're purposely being vague with that scene next to Emily's portrait, but it was just odd. To me, that scene screamed Felix is a Senti-monster. I don't know, let me know what you think, because it just confused me. Like I said, I think this episode is just missing lines of dialogue that makes it difficult to understand. I don't know. If I just keep talking about it, I'll just repeat myself, because I don't understand. Okay, so I thought Amelie's shoes were lovely, completely different topic. Her shoes were amazing, I love those shoes. And then Marinette was really funny. So Sarah, the waitress, was like, you need to come in the kitchen and help me. And Zoe was like, prove her wrong, you can't be helpful in the kitchen. And Marinette was like, absolutely no problem there. Wonderful. And then also Adrian and Kagami, they definitely seem to have made up in Optogami, since she is quite nice to him in Optogami, in my opinion. Have they interacted since Optogami? Inglatiated too, I guess that was technically an interaction when she was getting Marinette to try and help Adrian cheer up. So at what point do they make up? Because they don't seem to be friends in this episode. Did anyone else get that? Like, they didn't seem like... Kagami didn't seem like she liked him that much. It was... it was weird. So... Felix definitely is suspicious that Gabriel is Shadow Daddy, hence why he took, I think, a button off his shirt and ripped the pants. And also that adds to Felix knowing he's a Senti-monster. He would understand how they work, assuming Amelie or someone else, maybe Emily when she was still around, explained it to him. So why else would he do that to prove there were two Gabriels at that point if he didn't know enough about Senti-monsters already? I feel like the general population of Paris doesn't know a great deal about how Senti-monsters work, but if he was a Senti-monster and he'd been told about them by his mum or his dad maybe, that would make more sense. Again, maybe they are trying to purposely hide things from us, but it's like, okay, keep secrets from us, keep us hanging, keep us guessing, but we also need to know enough to understand what was actually going on. Yeah? No? Okay. But like, to me, like, Senti-Daddy did admit that he kind of was Shadow Moth, because he said if I snap my fingers you'll disappear. It seems like Felix is aware he's a Senti-monster. I don't know. And then obviously later on, right at the end of the episode, he sees the real Daddy Agreste, his pants aren't ripped. Felix is like, okay, yep, that was a Senti-monster before. So Felix seems to be aware, but he just didn't really voice it all that much. I don't know, because this episode didn't seem rushed at all to me, but there were just some things missing. mainly with the Felix storyline. The Marinette stuff was fine, and I quite liked the fact Marinette wasn't the focus of this episode. Definitely seemed like Felix was more of a focus and Gabriel was more of a focus, which I really enjoyed for a change, although I would like some more Adrian-centered episodes, please. Yeah, and then also, so Cat Noir and Felix outside during the Akuma attack. Cat Noir's like, oh, why this ring? And he's like, oh, my uncle is a very strange man and he wants it back. Is it really strange to want back a ring that had such sentimental value? I understand Felix was lying, but I don't think it's that strange. However, since that ring arguably has an amok inside, it's not that strange for Felix to want it, but obviously he's not going to say that to Cat Noir. So I guess we could argue that Daddy Agreste wants the ring back because of sentimental value, but if the ring really does have Felix's amok in it, and that's the reason why Gabriel wants it, why does he want it? Felix really, he doesn't have really much to do with the family, because, I mean, obviously I know he's related to him, but they live in two different countries. Why does Gabriel need the amok to control Felix when he lives somewhere completely different? Why does he feel the need to get the ring? I can understand for sentimental value, but I'm not 100% sure that's actually why Gabriel wants it back. Does anyone else agree? It's hard to say because I feel like there were lines missing from the episode. Don't know. However, Daddy Agreste is very weird seeing him with some emotion. I know it wasn't genuine, he was faking it, but okay. But yeah, I don't have much to say because I haven't filmed very long so far. It was just weird. So Felix watches that video on the Ladybug. He sees the brooch when Daddy Agreste leans over to get the tablet. And then he confronts him at Emily's portrait and says, I know you're Shadow Moth or whatever. But there are some stages missing. Felix isn't aware what the Miraculous looks like, and it's also in camouflage mode. So I know on that picture of Mayura and Hulk Daddy that he saw on the Ladybug, you can see Mayura's Miraculous. But it's in, is it the charge mode, the active mode, non-camouflage mode? They look very different. So how would he know? He wouldn't know. How would he know? He wouldn't know. Could he get a bit suspicious that his uncle is hiding this under his cravat? Yes, but also at the same time, Felix used steel jewellery, so I would probably also hide my jewellery if you were coming around to my house because I know you've stolen it before. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's a huge leap in logic without the correct steps. It just feels like a bit like in Ephemeral when Daddy Agreste heard Adrian say "Milady" and he was like, oh my god, he's Cat Noir. Like, okay, like, could it make you suspicious? Yes, definitely, but maybe you should go through some other methods before you reach the absolute conclusion, yep, my son is Cat Noir, and go and take him to see his mum and traumatise him. Like, what if Adrian hadn't been Cat Noir? What if you just traumatised him for no reason? Obviously, we all know Felix is right, and I'm pretty sure Felix feels that he's right after what happened at the end when he saw the pants were intact. I guess, in conclusion for this episode, it's leading me to believe Felix is a Senti-monster for definite, and I'm not feeling as upset about that. I don't really have a connection to Felix. This is only the second time I've seen him, so okay, whatever. I'm not as bothered about that as Adrian being one. I'm cool with the idea of Felix being one, to be honest. So it seemed that was confirmed. He was like, I'm going to snap my fingers and you'll disappear, think about how your mum would feel. I feel like that confirms he's a Senti-monster, but it also seems that Felix is aware of what Senti-monsters are and how they work, but also that he is one as well. And also knows his amok is in that ring. I actually, when I was doing my makeup, so I watched the episode live, did my makeup, and whilst I was doing my makeup I rewatched Felix before I rewatched this episode again for the video. Felix seems to be aware of the ring and its powers and that it can control him. However, I was kind of hoping, like Amelie also says at the end of Felix about the legend of the rings and how he always wants to be told the story. I'd like to be told the story. I was hoping in this episode we would find out about the ring. I had initially, when I first heard about this episode, I was hoping we'd get some flashbacks and we maybe see Emily when she was still fine and healthy, maybe get to see toddler Adrian because that would have been really cute. But when we saw the trailers I was like, okay, doesn't look like we're getting flashbacks. We didn't get any flashbacks as it was. I was hoping for just a little bit of explanation, just a tiny bit of information about the rings, but we are still none the wiser, other than I'm pretty sure that the ring Felix has, wherever it is, because he didn't seem like he had it in the episode, has his Amukin. But I'm still not 100% certain. I don't know, like, I want to say that it was confirmed Felix is a Senti-monster, but I also don't feel like we were given enough information in the episode to say that for certain. I'd say I'm like 90% certain he is one. It seems a bit odd, this whole thing. There were definitely some parts of the episode that just felt like they were missing, essentially. It was just, it felt very weird to me, especially the Gabriel and Felix stuff, not the Marinette stuff, that was fine. Yeah, it's just odd. However, I will say, just because I feel like Felix is being confirmed to be a Senti-monster, I don't think that means Adrian can't be a Senti-monster. I feel like all this setup for Adrian, especially with what we got in Ephemeral with all the ring twisting and stuff like that, I feel like they both could be a Senti-monster. Just because Felix is a Senti-monster doesn't mean Adrian can't be a Senti-monster. Although it does beg the question who created each of them. I would just always assumed Emily created Adrian, so maybe Emily created Felix first. I don't know which one of them is older, I don't think we've ever been told before. But yeah, I'd love to know what you think about the Senti-monster stuff specifically. I think the Marinette stuff pulled it off really well. The Akuma attack, really well done. Don't really have anything to say about it. The reason why this episode is 6.5 out of 10 is because it wasn't clear. And if me, a 25-year-old, is having trouble understanding what exactly happened between Felix and Gabriel, or Felix and Senti Daddy rather, then the actual audience will also be confused. Maybe it's my fault, maybe I'm thinking too much about it, maybe the translation I didn't watch was correct, but from my French that I speak, the translation I watched did seem to be correct. So right now I am feeling very, very confused, to be honest. Hey besties, it's Hayes. So I forgot to say this when I was filming because I don't know why I forgot. But the ending, obviously we see Gabriel putting what looks like, in my opinion, 2 fake Miraculouses in the safe. So I would assume Felix or someone else is going to come and find them in the safe. But how they find them in the safe, how they know the safe is there in the first place, I have no idea. I don't know how. And also that coffin smash screenshot wasn't in the episode either, so it's obviously from a future episode as well. Sorry, I forgot to say it in the video. So overall I would give the episode a 6.5 out of 10 because I just felt there were some fundamental things missing to aid with the audience's understanding of what was going on in the episode concerning Daddy Agreste and Felix. Just my opinion, but I could be wrong because the translation I watched could be incorrect. I will try and find another one, and if I am incorrect I will leave a pinned comment and say more, but if there's no pinned comment from me, then you know I found another translation and I was still thoroughly confused. MVP of the episode I would say is Felix. Whilst he did make some leaps in logic and I don't understand how he reached the conclusions he did, obviously I know he's correct, but I don't understand how he actually got there correctly without making some mistakes because he missed out some steps. I do think he was great in this episode. I am starting to like him more. In the episode Felix, I didn't like him all that much, especially after his interaction with Ladybug and he tried to kiss her. Wasn't a fan of that interaction at all, so I didn't like him all that much in the first time we saw him, but I really liked him in this episode. However, special mention MVPs to Sarah the waitress. I thought she was great, I love her, I hope we see her again. And also of course to my boy Mark. He was wonderful in this episode, loved him so much. And best line of the episode, there were a couple of good ones actually, a couple of really good lines. So what did we have? Obviously we had what Gabriel said to Natalie in her room, "You're irreplaceable." Love it, love it. Then we also had Marino saying, "I am more muscular, I will carry the heavy things." Beautiful. And then of course we had, and I think this one is gonna win, "Why do you have a cardboard box on your head?" Best line in the episode. It was truly wonderful, truly wonderful. I absolutely loved that part of the episode, although this episode definitely wasn't my favourite. Not the worst episode of the season, she says, even though she only gave it a 6.5. Yeah, it was just odd. The writing was very odd. I don't know. I'd love to know what you think, especially with the Felix Senti-monster stuff and how he managed to make that leap in logic with almost zero information, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!